you have read the ruling. I don't know what you think, what you make of it.
Thank you, Samson. For a second, I was looking for the president or chairman of the Joy FM Staff Association to step in because it was getting quite heated. But I must say that I have preliminary fundamental issues to raise. The first one being that I would have thought that government would not have proceeded to the National Media Commission. That's my initial fundamental issue. I think that if you look at the whole spirit and letter of Chapter 12 of the Constitution, which establishes a National Media Commission to insulate the media from governmental control, to guarantee press freedoms, and to allow for the media to operate in an unfettered manner. If I was in government, my advice would have been that let's sit with the management of multimedia and have a discussion. I think that government went too far in dragging the multimedia group to the National Media Commission. Of course, government is well within its right. I'm not saying that government has acted unconstitutionally or illegally. But you see, if you look at the history of our country and why the framers of our Constitution dedicated a whole chapter for media freedoms, and you come to consider the fact that a certain culture of silence, which had permeated quite deeply the new Constitution of 1992, set out to help all of us depart from that, guided by the principle of what Thomas Jefferson said, that the only security of all is in a press freedom, a free media. That's our only security. That is why all the rights, all the fundamental rights, we all acknowledge that when it comes to media freedoms, there is more liberty there. And it is the reason why this often quoted statement from John Stuart Mill, which found its way in the report of the Constituent Assembly, says that if all mankind minus one were of one opinion, mankind will be no more justified in silencing that one person than he, if he had the power, will be justified in silencing mankind. So fundamentally, I have a difficulty with government proceeding to the National Media Commission. It creates the impression that, and I believe same to be true, that this government is increasingly becoming intolerant and it is being overly sensitive. So that's the first preliminary objection. The second matter which we need to confront is with the entire tenor of the ruling. And I agree with the Media Foundation for West Africa that the NMC's ruling is very, very confusing in many parts. For example, when the NMC says that the I group, they found their existence at the castle problematic and unacceptable, and leaves it there, does not tell us why you find it problematic and unacceptable. You leave us wondering, because you are arguing, the NMC is arguing that its activities are at variance with a vigilante group or a militia, as Ghanaians have come to understand it. And when we submitted our memorandum, Kojo confirmed that, I don't know if you saw it, to the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee as a minority and as NDC. On the anti-vigilantism. Yeah. We took the view that vigilantism is a misnomer. And it is our view that militia is more appropriate. And that vigilantism is more positive, you know, as the dictionary definition suggests, is a group of people coming to augment law enforcement, trying to help maintain the peace. But in Ghana, what these thugs go about doing is not vigilantism. So for the NMC to say that this group is not a vigilante group, and yet finds their existence at the castle problematic and unacceptable, and does not tell us why you find their operations at the castle problematic and unacceptable, you leave all of us in a state of confusion. Then there's also the issue of when the group was evicted. In the NMC's ruling, and I quote, on the issue when the DI group exited the castle, whilst the government insisted that the group was evicted in October 2018, the multimedia group insisted that it was after the documentary that the eviction was carried out. Then it ends there. So we do not know who is right. Is government's claim right, or is the multimedia group? And we know when you watch the documentary that indeed the dates, unless Manasseh got the dates wrong, there was even an end-of-year party. And so this claim of October
Okay, so there was an explanation to the end-of-year party. Mm-hmm. The end-of-year party, we are explained to understand, given to understand that they had been evicted, but they came to apply, make an application to come back there to do their end-of-year party, and they were the request was granted. Okay, that's the explanation.
That's the explanation. They had been evicted, but they were allowed to come back to, this explanation, really. Look, let us be serious, and let us accord the people of this country discernment and intelligence. The facts, as has been put out, government itself has not denied that this group had no business being at the castle. Government has not denied that this group was being trained by ex-military officers, which includes a former bodyguard of the former president. Government, sorry, the current president. Okay. Yes, what is it? The former flag bearer. At the time, yes, at the time, he was bodyguard for the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. Government has not denied that this group did not have the license from the Interior Ministry to operate. The
government says it's unfortunate that they were there and that they ought not have been there.
Yes. So
they explained to you that the guy, the former bodyguard, was giving the place as an office to do work for the state, retrieve vehicles. And after that, he continued to operate there and use it for purposes that had not been granted. So why are you blaming the government?
Why not blame the government? It's government's responsibility to ensure that assets that are under its control are not used for such activities. They created a website where they claimed they were carrying out all kinds of services. They had a motto which says protection and vigilance. Interesting motto. We are told that it was some recruitment agency, and yet their motto is protection and vigilance. Very, very curious. Then you also have something. The situation where this group, Manasseh adduced evidence, Daily Guide publication in 2012, where they had publicly announced that they were going to ensure that ballot boxes are protected.
No, they didn't say that.
That they will ensure.
They didn't say that. They have said that they were an energetic youth of the NPP whose job was to provide protection. For the officers of the NPP. They didn't say they were going to protect ballot box.
Okay, I'll bring out that publication. But clear, even if I am to go with this argument, you are going to protect officers of the New Patriotic Party in an election. Is that not one of the features of these political militias, what they carry out, which we have all frowned against. So, Samson, there is more in this matter than government will want us to believe and to accept. And that is why I take the view that the government should not have embarked on this.
You say government, and you repeat that government should not have gone to the NMC.
Yes.
In your regime, you went to the NMC not once, not twice, about 3 times. And I remember one similar event, the Yutong bus. And I sat here, and James Ejenim Boateng sat where Kojo Fon sat. And okay, I won't tell you the back issues. Kojo is laughing. And I engaged Ejenim Boateng in saying that it wasn't right for them to do, for you guys to do what you did at the time, including you announcing publicly that you had sort of blacklisted and boycotted Joy. How can you come today and say they shouldn't have gone to NMC?
Did I say?
He had forgotten.
I had not forgotten. Did I say that no government has ever gone to the NMC, or we didn't go to the NMC? I said yes. On this matter, especially when the facts, I mean, it's clear that government was sleeping on the job. It's clear that government had allowed the castle where you have 6 ministers of state operating for it to be used for these illegal activities.
May I remind you that they insist that the fact that these ministers are there and it looks like it's an extension of the presidency still doesn't make it a security zone.
You had reported earlier when the president announced that that place was being given to the Museums and Monuments Board to manage. And that's why we are clear that, first of all, if you go out there and say that you see, the embodiment of the words you put together creates a certain impression that a militia being trained in a security zone.
Okay.
Very different.
Don't worry, but we also deferred to Kwesi Enin, who insisted that it's a security zone. Yeah, go ahead.
Because his car was searched when he was entering.
Kojo, you know that where, you do know as a minister of state, that where ministers operate, there is some level of security. That it behoves on the state to provide ministers with security. And that is why, even outside the offices of ministers, you are provided with police protection. In homes, in your residence, there is police protection and all of that, because it's the duty of the state. So to suggest that a place where ministers are operating from as officials of state, there's really no security there. It's not a security zone. It's not a security zone. Any member of the public can walk in there.
Training a militia in a security zone. What impression do you send out to people?
Okay.
Let's
hear from Kwekubako.
If I can conclude in a minute.
Yes, please do.
Conclude in a minute. You see, there are so many lapses, so many illegalities that this group clearly engaged in, that government should not rather be doing this to Manasseh and the multimedia group. They rather ought to be commended, because but for that expose, you had said that you even tried 3 times to get the group evicted, that you had to take a joint operation of national security and Ghana Police Service personnel to have the group evicted. I mean, it's curious that such an operation will require this level of intervention, and yet you want us to believe that there's really no cause for alarm and that Manasseh should be treated in the way.
Okay, thank you.